Okay, well,
Here we are.
we made it. We got new mic stands, everybody.
And we can see our faces.
You can see our faces
and our sign.
We're really excited. Okay, welcome. You're listening to Beyond the Front Door podcast with Lindee and Rhea. We're real estate agents at Peak Properties in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and we bring you real estate stories that will inspire you, make you laugh, cringe, and maybe even cry. Come on in. We put the real in real estate.
Yes.
And we're really excited for our guest today, right, Rhea?
Yes, we are. One of my favorite
guest,
people.
Yes, mine too.
Mine too.
Our guest is Deb Rang. She is the co-owner and associate broker with Peak Properties, our sponsor. And she's also my mom.
Yay for moms.
Yay, we're so excited. She's made this possible.
Yes, absolutely. Everything from us becoming realtors to this studio that we're sitting in here today. So we're super thankful and excited to have you here today, Deb.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, let's go ahead and get started. Tell our listeners a little bit about you, your name, your family information, your spouse, years married, kids, pets, things like that.
So I don't know really where I start. I have 4 kids, 3 girls and a boy. All 3 girls sell real estate here with Corey and I. I have a husband. We started Peak Properties back in 2006, and almost 18 years later, it'll be 18 years in January.
It doesn't even seem like it should be that long.
We, threw caution to the wind and looked at, watched Gillette disappear in the rearview mirror and landed in Cheyenne to open Peak Properties.
That is, you sort of answered, you did answer. Our next question is, where did you live before here and what made you decide to move to Cheyenne?
Lindee had already graduated college and had taken a job over here in Cheyenne, and Krista was in college, and AJ was getting ready to go to college, and Alyssa was in 8th grade. And I knew if I didn't make the move south to be somewhat closer to them, I would have to wait till Alyssa graduated high school. And so I decided it was now or never, and we made the leap. All the kids went over to UW, and we came to Cheyenne, and slowly as they finished over there, they landed over here as well, all in different careers. Then real estate, except for Krista. Krista right away jumped into real estate. The other 3 went and chased some other dreams. And then as they got married and settled here, AJ married a girl that was with the state. And after a few years, she as well decided to jump into real estate. So we have Kelsey as well here. That's a family member.
So a total family business.
Yes, complete family business.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I mean, the people who aren't our family, we think they are our family.
We do think they are.
They are.
We only take people that we want to be part of our family.
Yes, exactly.
You gotta pass the test.
Yep.
Well, I'm excited to be here.
You passed the test. Yay.
For a long time.
Yes, for sure. We'll get into that.
Yeah. Because you guys know each other.
We
for
do.
Quite a while.
We do. So Deb and I met in 2001. So 22 years ago, it would have been 22 years ago in November. And our worlds kind of collided in the nonprofit world that we were both, or that Deb was in at the time and reeled me into. And so it has been a great friendship and a great partnership, really, to have you a part of my life for the last 22 years. So it is. And even when you moved away, it didn't really end there. So I'm super thankful for that. Yeah.
We always had a lot to talk about.
We always did. We did. Because then every time I came down here, you would, I would stay with your mom, and, she just...
We had a lot of connections down here as well that brought you here at times. And
yep, because I was coming down for work.
That I still, stayed in touch with, from that other world.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, what's been your favorite part about Cheyenne?
I like the idea that it's a little bit larger than where I've lived in the past. I like that we're a little closer to Denver to where we can kind of just plan a trip and rent a DIA and jump on a plane. But I do like the feel of the small town.
You didn't have to leave Wyoming for the bigger town, in other words.
Right.
Yeah.
It feels like there is more opportunities to do things here. And I like the little bit larger community.
I completely agree, because what's funny, what I've come to notice is the people that grew up in Cheyenne feel like there's nothing to do here. But when you move here from a small town, you're like, oh no, there's plenty to do.
There's a mall. There's a Target.
That's right. An Olive Garden.
Yeah, we don't have to plan a 2-hour drive out of town just to get a new pair of tennis shoes.
Yes. And really every town in Wyoming is 2 hours away from something.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, that's nice. Okay. Well, we talked a little bit about jump stories.
Yes.
In our last episode. And my mom, Deb's going to share her jump story with us about how she decided to take a leap into real estate.
Yes.
And how that got us where we are right now today.
Yep. We actually talked about you and your jump story just a hair during the last episode. And so one of the things that we talked about in jump stories is jump stories are often comprised of 4 different steps, and they can all happen in the same day, or they can occur over a period of time. So the first being sort of the day that you realized that you wanted to change something in your life. So your day of reckoning, the decision of kind of what exactly you would like to do. Like, what does that change look like? The desire, once the desire to accomplish that goal overrides your desire to stay where you're at. And then your resolve, the day you take action and decide to move forward. So we're super excited to hear your jump story. What was the day for you that realized you wanted to do something different with your life?
I don't know that it was a decision of wanting to do something. It was more out of the idea of maybe that I just needed to. I never saw myself in real estate. Although my mother, when I was in high school, wanted to be a realtor. She then eventually ended up getting a real estate license when she was in her 50s. And I had always listened to her want to be in real estate, and it just didn't click with me. In the 80s, when my children were young, I managed rentals in Gillette for 2 men from Cheyenne, ironically.
Interesting.
Bill Moriarty and Bernie Lowry had 36 units in Gillette, and I helped manage those in the 80s. I found that property management was kind of my niche. It wasn't hard for me to do. I just kind of got it.
Sure.
So I did that for a little while. Did not dawn on me to go get a real estate license, because at the time in Wyoming, you didn't have to have a real estate license to manage other people's properties. Isn't that crazy?
It is interesting how things have changed.
Now by law, you have to have a real estate license to do that. Anyway.
Somebody else's properties, like you can manage your own.
You can manage your own,
correct?
You just cannot manage other people's.
Right.
Yeah. So I did that, but it still did not register to me. Oh, be a realtor. Got into the nonprofit world, did a lot of grant writing. Day of reckoning probably was towards the end of the Capitol building project in Gillette. That, was just a lot of work. We wrote a large grant.
I remember.
That provided a building for the agency. And it was, I think it feels like it was about 1.5 years.
It does seem about that long. Yeah.
And so I was quite worn out after that, and in tracking grants and reporting on grants and writing new grants. And I had met Corey, and he was in real estate school. Still did not register with me. Hey, I want to be a realtor. Not at all. Anyway, got to know him over the course of about 2001, 3 years. And he was a realtor, and I was not. I was still in
the nonprofit
world, writing grants. And he asked me one day, so he and his business partner also flipped houses. So he asked me at one point if I wanted to flip a house with him. And I said, yeah, I think so. I mean, there were a lot of things I could do. I've done a lot of little repairs and stuff on my own house. So anyway, we jumped in and we did that. We bought the house and realized it was a bigger project.
Like most people.
Oh, it was such a big project. So we started just gutting the house. We would go over there every night after work and we were just gutting it. And the whole time talking about, oh no,
we're in over our heads.
We're in over our heads. We're completely over our heads.
I wonder how many flippers have thought that at one point or another in their time.
At least once they have.
Yeah.
And in the process of that, we had a general contractor in town approach Corey and say, I know you bought that. Would you be interested in selling it? And so we talked about it as is. We can just stop gutting it, stop and sell it. And we did.
Oh, good for you.
We made money.
Oh.
Now, he made more money because he finished the project.
Yeah.
But we ended up getting in at a good price to where we were able to make money. So then at that point, Corey had made the suggestion, what if we opened a real estate office? He already owned one in Gillette, and he was going to sell out to his business partner. And I said, I want to move to Cheyenne and do that then. And he said, I want to move to Rapid City. And I said, I'm not going to Rapid City. My kids are all going south.
Oh, yeah, I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either. Mm-hmm. Although I do.
Still to this day, we'll mention that once in a while. And he will say that he still would have loved to be in Rapid City.
But he's from the Black Hills.
He's from Deadwood, yeah.
Yes.
And so I said, I'm going to Cheyenne. And so that's where we came. And we came, and I didn't have a real estate license. I just threw caution to the wind. I don't know what day it was that made me think, just jump. I did, and I didn't really think anything about it. I had to sell a house in Gillette.
Did you have any
to live in?
Did you have any trepidation or any worry that you weren't making the right decision, or did it just feel right the whole way?
It felt right the whole way, and I didn't even question what I was doing, which is crazy because when you've got kids and I had to put in my resignation at work, and I remember doing that, and it was in December, and I did it like the 15th of December, but I didn't tell any of the kids till after Christmas because I was afraid I was going to ruin their Christmas. And so I waited until the day after Christmas to say, oh, and by the way, we're moving to Cheyenne. We came to Cheyenne the weekend of New Year's and did some house hunting for 2 days, put a house under contract, went back to Gillette, put our house, he had a house and I had a house, on the market, packed up, and we were here by the 13th of January.
So
2 weeks, we found a house, bought a house.
Oh my gosh.
Moved, the whole thing. I didn't even have time to think this was not a good idea. And I did not have a real estate license at that point. So once we got moved, about the 1st of February, I went to real estate school. Then there was no option because you needed to get through the school, pass the test.
It's crunch time.
And it is a lot of information that you learn.
And rent a space, open a business. We were open by February 15th.
Oh my, so 60 days from the day you put in your resignation to the day a new business opened up. 60 days. Yeah. And moving a new town and your kids and
moving kids.
Whoa.
School.
Alyssa
was in school.
Alyssa was in school, and Alyssa wanted to ride down here with Krista the day we left Gillette, and she cried herself to sleep in the car.
Sure, because it's junior high school.
It's junior high, and she was just devastated to leave, which we laugh about now because she loved being down here, and she
loves Cheyenne.
But in the moment, I mean,
she's still here.
Yeah.
I used to always say, being from Gillette, that I was going to watch Gillette disappear in my rearview mirror. And we were so busy that day just trying to get everything in the car and get out of Gillette that I drove down Highway 59. And, I'm just thinking about all the things that, it was just a crazy day. Anyway, the moment it dawned on me, I didn't see it disappear. It was like my whole thing was just look in the rearview mirror, because that was going to be my moment of my life is going to really be changing forever now.
Yep, you're a whole new person.
Especially because you had lived there how long?
I had lived there. So the first time was 11 years. I lived in Newcastle for 7. Then I lived in Gillette for 11. I left, and then I came back and I was there another 20. So in the course of about 45 years, I was there in Gillette about 30 of those, 31.
It's a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You raised your kids there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
3 of them graduated high school there. So I looked up in the rearview mirror because I wanted this defining moment of, I don't know, I'm on to the next chapter of my life or something.
Mm-hmm.
And it was already gone. I looked up and there was just a hill behind me and there was no more Gillette. It was kind of funny. I was like, dang it, I missed it.
Oh. And, selling how was it even just selling the home that you raised your family in?
I know. I didn't have a problem with it, but the kids did. They really struggled with that. But Gillette was in a boom at the time.
Yes.
And we waited. So we had to find a house in Cheyenne. And then we went back to Gillette and put the house on the market because we couldn't be homeless, right? Put the house on the market Thursday night. And we left for Cheyenne. And Friday was Friday the 13th. And we closed on the house in Cheyenne on Friday the 13th, January 2006.
Wow.
And that same day, I got 17 people walking through my house.
Oh my gosh, 17.
I know, 17 showings the first day out of it being on the market, and immediately went under contract. And so by the end of January,
your home was in a desirable neighborhood, and yeah.
So by the end of January, I was closed and that house was gone. And my son was still up there at the time, and he had a key to the house. And he said, I kept saying to him, you need to drop that key off. I'm closing on the house on this day. I need you to make sure you just go put it on the counter. You need to just go. And he didn't do that. And then he called me later, the day of closing, later in the day. And he said, oh, Mom, I got the key. I dropped the key off and I put it on the counter. Those people have really nice furniture. I said, you what? And he
oh, boys.
You can't do that.
You can't go in that house anymore.
Do not go in that house anymore.
Oh, that's funny.
But we make jokes that the kids stalk that house at times. They go to Gillette.
We do. We always drive by it when we go to Gillette. And then a childhood friend that lived next door, her parents still live next door, and she sent us like pictures of the backyard, and the weeds were like this high, and she's like, it's so sad because your backyard, because we had a basketball hoop, and we had the basketball hoop and all the things, and we just have all these memories in our backyard. And she was like, look at your backyard, and we were like, oh.
There's handprints in the concrete.
Yeah.
Oh. So.
Oh. But, here you are, would you say 18 years?
18 years later.
Would you change any of it?
I'm so glad I just acted. I there's so many times you just are too nervous to
make a decision.
I'm so glad that I made the decision. Corey is very spontaneous that way. So it was fairly easy because he just jumps at anything. He wants to
and he has the confidence to do so.
And so he was kind of just pulling me along, and I just believed everything was going to work out the way it was supposed to.
So you moved to Cheyenne and started a real estate business, and it was you and Corey and Krista.
Krista got her license the same time I did.
Yep. And then you've grown over the years to flipping properties, continuing to do that.
And when we got down here, we immediately started flipping.
Mm-hmm.
Our first summer down here, we flipped, and Krista helped us flip that little house. I don't know if you remember that one over there, but we would work all day long, and we would go over there, and we would work at night. And I remember one night painting the trim outside of the house, and I was on a tall ladder because the house kind of went like that, And Corey popped his head out, and he was like, "I'm done. I'm heading for home." Krista said, "Mom, I'm going home." And I said, I'm going to just finish. Well, the sun was going down. And I needed to go up and back down before I was done. I just didn't want to stop. I wanted to finish that. And I remember the sun going down, and the man next door came out on his back porch, and he flipped his porch light on and says, "Does this help?"
Working in the night.
We'd work till dark, and then we'd get up and we'd do real estate during the day. And we got better at that. We did more and more and more. We've probably bought and sold over 100 properties in the last 18 years.
Wow.
Between rentals and flips. And
how incredible.
Yeah.
So then you grew from an agency of having one agent to...
So we started out with just the three of us.
Yep.
And that first year grew to only about 5 of us.
Okay.
And now, how many are we? Are we 20?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it seems like you, right about close to 20. So then I don't remember, when did you buy this place that your business now still is in? How did that happen?
So we rented space to begin with.
Okay.
And
also on Warren.
Warren is meant for you.
And
yes.
Our ultimate choice was to just own our building. That was the direction we were both wanting to go in. And so we just decided that we'd, keep an open mind, and we would attempt to buy something within 2 years. And it was about 4 months shy of 2 years when we bought this. We saw this on the market, and by the time we got over here to look at it, it was already under contract.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. And a chiropractor bought it, and they were going to open a chiropractic office here. And after they bought it, they found out that the city wouldn't allow a chiropractic office out of it, that this was zone multi-use business. But back in the 50s, a man had a collection agency in here, and he applied for a parking variance, because there's only street parking over here. And the city allowed it, but they specified specific businesses that were allowed to be ran out of here.
Mm-hmm.
They felt that a doctor's office would be too much traffic, but you could be a collection agency, you could be an insurance company, or you could be a real estate company. So
interesting.
They turned around, they bought it, and within a couple months turned around
to sell it
because they couldn't do what they wanted to do with it. And we made an offer. And
so what year was that?
We started our business in 2006.
So 2008?
And it was November of 2007 we moved into this.
Wow.
November 1st we bought this, refinished all the original hardwood floors, and moved our business up the street.
I think about that saying, you ask not, or you have not because you ask not. And so if you guys set the goal, we're going to be in a property within 2 years, and then you do that. You make that happen.
Everything that we've done, we've kind of set that goal and just focused on that, and we don't look back. This is what's happening. This is what we're doing.
I love it.
And it's worked out for us.
Of all the years that I was traveling to come here from Gillette, Warren was just belonged to Corey and Deb in my head. That's always, I didn't know Cheyenne really well at the time, but I knew where Warren was, and I knew where to come find you. So it sounds like it's been a good place for you.
Yeah. Of the girls, Krista was the first one that jumped on board. And I never wanted my children to jump into real estate unless that's what they wanted to do. I really wanted them to find their own careers and be happy within those careers. So they all really went and did that to some degree. And I would always say to Lindee, "Would you like to get a real estate license?" And she would say, "No, I didn't go to college for all those years, Mom, to be a realtor." And then she got pregnant and had a baby.
Yeah,
and
you said that. Yep.
She was on maternity leave.
And she told me this would happen. And when you're like, mom tells you something and you're like, no,
defiant.
It will not. She's like, you're not going to want to leave that baby. And I was like, yes, I will. I'll be fine.
I'll be fine. Well, she was fine because she knew she was going to leave it with her sister for a little while. But after she laid eyes on him, she didn't want to go back to work. And so while she was on maternity leave, she called me just barely out of the hospital. And I still remember hearing that voice across the phone saying, "Mom, what do you think about me getting a real estate license?" I said, "Let's do it." And she stayed at home throughout her maternity leave and did the online course.
Mm-hmm.
And that fall, took her test. She went back to work
At DFS,
August 1st. And by September 1st, she had taken time off, and I don't remember where you went to take your test. Here?
I did. I took my test here in a building by King Supers.
Okay. And she got done.
It was crazy.
And she passed.
Mm-hmm.
So the very next day, I said, let's go. I want to treat you for since you passed your test. And we went down to Colorado. And we went
shopping in Boulder.
And then we went out to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
And we took Liam with us, and we had a newborn with us, and he was
sweet.
Like 4 or 5 months old.
Yeah.
And we go out to dinner, and the whole time we're at dinner, she's saying, "I don't feel very good.
I really thought that test was really stressful, and now I'm just like, like it's all just done. Like I didn't know what to, I was like, I feel terrible.
I don't feel good. We made it back to town. She made it to work the next morning, and then I get a phone call that they've taken her to the emergency room. And so I raced to the emergency room, and she is having appendicitis and has to go in for emergency surgery.
Oh no!
Right after I passed my test,
the day after.
I swear
Oh,
it was
my
like the
gosh.
stress of everything.
Mm-hmm.
They say it was the baby because a lot of people have
Okay.
their gallbladder out
Okay.
or their appendix after having a baby.
And that was
apparently.
in September, and she just made a plan, put her notice in by December 1st.
How do you remember all these dates?
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
Yeah, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
I'm a date person. for
Me
sure.
neither. I'm not. I'm like, I don't remember what I did
December-
yesterday.
December 1st, she quit her job, and
So I just call her and ask her.
we
Yeah.
come to the office, and Liam was a baby, and Krista was working, and she had a 3-year-old, and we had a baby, and we had baby stuff at our office, and
So not much has changed, actually.
No, we just added more babies. Some of them got bigger and they don't want to come do anything with real estate.
yeah,
Then we had some others.
and Corey and I just always felt like, if you don't want to work in an office where there's kids once in a while, then this isn't the place for you, because we really embrace that family. And,
Mhm.
and if your kids need to tag along, they need to tag along. It is what it is. We've always got things for them to do to entertain themselves.
Same with our clients. We always are like, you bring your kids.
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think
We'll give them snacks and coloring books and
Yep.
Yeah.
And I do think that's one of the things I've always said about coming to be in your office is that, your own family is priority. And then everybody that works here is considered family. And it's
We've had
one of my favorite things.
We've had agents come to us because of that, because other agencies do not want children in the office. So
sure.
So if your child is, at your side today for whatever reason, whether there's no school or, you've got another appointment with them or something, we're just very flexible that way. And there's other offices that choose to just, do something different, and they don't want that.
Sure.
So, we had agents come to us because they can, their kids can tag along.
Can live your life.
Yeah.
Yep. So back to your jump story for just a little bit. Were there any major sacrifices you had to make that whole dream happen?
Did you hear that last night? I said that to Corey. I read that to Corey last night.
she was reading these questions,
Yeah.
trying to prepare, and she was laughing because she made some sacrifices.
I told Corey, like heat in the house. He was a Nazi when it came to the
He still
thermostat.
is.
He still is.
You come in this office, it's
yeah,
cold.
this office is
Yeah.
cold.
Yeah.
So he would keep the thermostat down, and you'd have to go turn it up. And he was always like concerned about how much utilities he was, what they were costing. We can all put on a sweater.
Yeah. What other ones did you mention? You don't get to go on vacation.
There was times where literally months
You
and months
work.
and months went by that I didn't get a single day off. And that definitely bothered me more than it did him. He was just on track. And about it, every 6 months I would be in tears because I had not had a day off.
Mhm.
And going into this, I recognize that if you're going to build a business, you've got to be all in. You can count the vacations goodbye. Period. We had to just learn to just eat, sleep, and breathe. Peak Properties until, we got it to a place that we felt like we could start doing that.
Yeah. Well, I just think it's,
I think our first vacation from 2006 actually was your wedding, Lindee, in 2008. I think it was the first time we actually got to go somewhere. And I went for the entire time, which was still only 6 days, and he only agreed to go to 4, and he came back early, you remember?
Someone has to man the office.
Sure, that
It's
makes
still
sense.
like that, but
And
now
we
we're
even planned that over a holiday when nobody else should have been
working. Yeah.
there are no holidays in real estate.
That's right. Although, and
so true.
what
Maybe Christmas Day.
maybe. Well, the one thing I have found to be so true that I heard realtors say all the time when I got started is the second you plan to go out of town is when real estate's going to spring up in your lap. And for certain, that
It
has
does.
proven to be true.
Yes.
I mean,
Make other plans. And
I've been negotiating a deal while walking onto an airplane or sitting at a hotel, going through properties with someone, or driving to go wherever I'm going and responding to the real estate transactions. So yeah, it does seem like it pops up.
You really have to learn to kind of be able to juggle all that, have a lot of balls in the air at any given point. And I'm very grateful also for my years in nonprofit in regards to running a business. I think that really prepared me well to run a successful business.
Sure, I would agree with that. And Lindee and I were talking about that during our introductory session, that the skills are transferable, in what we've done in our previous lives and how they transfer to real estate.
I think that was what was important for me, to have all of my kids also go chase other dreams so that they could gather those other skills in other professions, because I think they all can say that that brought something to the table, and whether it be negotiating with people, whether it be your confidence level in managing a transaction. In another career, you might be managing people, but in this, you're managing people also in real estate, throughout a transaction. So
I will say the one thing that I have enjoyed about real estate is that there's a beginning, a middle, and an end to every transaction. Whereas I think all three of us in our previous lives, there's not necessarily that sort of wrapping it all up, and the work is sort of ongoing. Situations are sort of ongoing. The people that you're in the trenches with is ongoing, and there's nothing wrong with that. But there's something very satisfying about a beginning, a middle, and an end to a transaction, and that's something I appreciate. Yes. Yep. So yeah. What is one piece of advice that you'd give to a listener who maybe wants to walk a journey similar to yours?
I'm gonna go back to what I tell everybody that takes their license at our office. What you think about, you bring about. So, whatever you're doing, if you're believing and you can do it, you're going to do it.
Right.
If you let doubts seep into your thoughts, you're not going to succeed. You've got, you just need to keep moving forward and
behave as though it's all going to happen.
Exactly. And when you get those doubts in your head, you need to just think about what you think about, you bring about. Just keep thinking about, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this.
And I think too, it may require surrounding yourself with people who are encouraging that as well, and not instilling
and
all that doubt.
You of that, because sometimes it's easy to go, oh, maybe I can't do it, and then you have someone go, okay, well, if you say you can't do it, then you won't do it.
Right.
That's right. And I like to tell people, you've got this. I know you've all both heard me say, you've got this. You can do this. You've got this.
I'm always appreciative of that too. Like, I think even if you have all the confidence in the world, having somebody being a cheerleader for you never hurts.
I'm getting teary-eyed. Or it's just one eye. I don't know. But yes, my mom's a big cheerleader for everybody.
She is.
And for this, I love watching innovation. I love watching somebody take an idea and do something amazing with it.
Well,
I love being a part of.
She's never told me I can't do something. I mean, I have made a music video. I literally just come to her with an idea and I go, here's what I want to do. And she's like, okay. What do we got to do?
What do we got to do?
Let's do it.
I'm
Well,
like,
this one's
okay.
a big one.
This is a big
This
one.
is a big one. This is a big one. And we're excited to share sort of the environment here and the stories out there in the world.
And I
So
thought the music video was pretty big. Like that was
You did. I mean, we hired a person. It wasn't like I
pretty-
shot it myself.
No, and it was, they would say things to me like that I had to participate in. Like they had an idea that somebody was going to walk into the office with this briefcase and they were going to open it and all this money was going to fall out. We need a briefcase full of money.
So we actually went and got fake money, then it wasn't enough, and so she just went to the bank and withdrew real money.
wow.
And I got to tell you, I mean, if anyone's withdrawn money, you could say $5,000, and guess what? That looks like this.
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
not like a lot. So we were like, don't do anything with this briefcase because it had so much real money, and we were going to throw it.
Oh my gosh.
I think after it was said and done,
It was hilarious.
we put the fake money in, but then we had to put the real money in on top, and it still took, a couple $1,000s of real dollars. And I don't remember if we got $1 bills or what we did.
Yeah.
And at one point, so we have this couple that's buying a house, walks into the office, and they walk up to the desk and open their briefcase and just let it spew out all over it was really a cute video.
It was.
You're maybe going to have to share that video on our
I
Beyond
will
the
share
Front
it
Door.
because I love it. I've
page.
wanted to do another one again,
And
but it was a lot.
Lindee and Alyssa's husband are the musical ones in the family, and so they both.
Well, Kelsey too. Next time Kelsey's singing and not me. Kelsey's really good at singing. Yeah.
Anyway, they sang, and Andy played the guitar, and it was just such a fun video. By the time we wanted it to be, so by the time we planned, it was wintertime.
It was terrible. We froze.
We wanted it to be outside and kind of in the summer, but we ended up with snow, and
it was Wyoming.
It was Wyoming.
Yep.
It's such a good video.
Yeah, I will definitely
But
share
was
it.
Months of processing to
Put together.
who's going to video it, who's going to record it,
Just
how
like
we're gonna put it
this.
Together.
Yeah, this has been
It's
something.
not just
We-
like turn a camera on.
No.
We
and a
hired
microphone.
one guy to video for us to begin with, and then we just didn't hear from him.
Well, we shot a bunch of video footage
Shot a
with
bunch of
him,
video.
and then we didn't hear from him. And when we finally did, it was because
He lost it.
it got deleted
It got deleted
on accident.
And at the same time,
Mm.
my cousin in
my gosh.
Casper, her daughter was marrying a young man in Denver, and that's what he did for a living. So
We
we
were like,
contacted him.
It was,
and
he
came
did
up.
so good.
Oh my gosh, Nick was amazing. We
Yeah.
use him every time now. And then Tony Shaw, my niece, her husband, he does things with sound,
DJing and that kind of stuff. Yeah. And recording.
So he knew somebody in town that had a studio. You and Andy went over to the studio and recorded.
And he helped doing the
everything.
mixing of the music.
Mhm.
Yeah. We had like a whole family affair.
So aside from that, this has been a big project too.
Mm-hmm.
This is, and we're incredibly grateful for the
we're
opportunity.
excited.
Well, I think you should ask her that last question.
Okay,
'cause I know it's
last
one you're
question that
excited
we're going
about.
to ask. If you could purchase a property anywhere in the world, where would it be and why?
I asked Corey that last night, and he said, "Well, it'd have to be somewhere close." So
I know.
that we
I
could
thought
use it."
he's so practical.
He is so practical.
When he said that, I thought you wouldn't just like say Costa Rica, or I mean,
Yeah.
that's what I would
Because you can
say.
always rent it out and have
Yeah.
income producing.
But he was like, "Well, we'd have to be able to use it." I was like, "So Cheyenne, you already own enough properties here."
Okay, so Lindee, the road to you go past Guernsey and the road to Hartville, and then you turn at Hartville and then go down a ways, and then you turn into the park. And if you go past our turn
Mhm.
and you keep going to right before you get into the national park,
There's
there is
that beautiful house,
with the
beautiful
wraparound
driveway, and the
driveway,
beautiful
wraparound,
everything.
huge outbuilding for all the extras
Toys.
you ever need.
Yeah.
I'll take that one.
Okay.
I'm going to take that too. I love Guernsey.
Well, I guess we're just going to have to pay
It's the
attention to that.
Okay, so I will write them a letter and I can make that happen for you. I'm just going to need you to write a check.
When it goes on the market, we need to take a look.
Yeah. And I want to go with to see.
Somebody lives there year round.
I think so too.
Yep.
I think so too. Okay, well, thank you for sharing your story. We really appreciate you coming on and doing this because we know it's not in everybody's comfort level to come and
Share your
story and talk,
Yep.
but we appreciate it. And we just want to remind our listeners to like and follow us on social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and subscribe on YouTube because we're posting all these videos on YouTube. And then you can follow on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and iHeartRadio and all those podcast sites. And
we're realtors.
We're realtors. So we wanted to remind you of that.
Yeah. So if you're looking to
that's our
buy or
first
sell,
stop.
come
Yes.
find us.
Look for us on social media also. Both of us
Yep.
have our own pages. We have a website with Peak Properties. It's sellcheyenne.com. And I'm Lindee Wiltjer.
And I'm Rhea Parsons.
Yep. And we would love to work with you.
Absolutely. Have a great
This episode of Beyond the Front Door is brought to you by Peak Properties in Cheyenne, Wyoming. With over 75 years of combined experience in real estate, it's our goal to help clients buy and sell and save by providing the information you want and the professional services you expect. Let us help you with your residential, commercial, HUD, income-producing properties, as well as vacant land and rental needs. To learn more, visit www.sellcheyenne.com.